Hello, y'all.
Hello.
Oh,
I'm so excited to be recording with you. It's so late during the day, but here we are. We made it.
Another 3T evening.
Hey, Tanya. Normally, I have nothing to report to you about
Shoot.
because I'm so boring. But this weekend, okay? So, first of all, it has to actually start on Wednesday when I got my combo booster and flu shot. I was down bad. I was I was down bad.
Oh no.
So, we were going to Crew Live. It was me, Tara, Sandra in Sacramento. So it was like, let's just get a car. We'll ride up. It's gonna be great. So I went and got my hair braided.
you.
No more head wraps. Shout out to that. And I go get my hair braided. I was like, Tara, I'm gonna come get you in the lift, and we gonna go out to the airport to pick up the car. So me and Tara head out to SFO. We get a Tahoe, and it was so funny because the dude was like, "What y'all doing?" I was like, "Oh, it's my birthday," and he was like, "Oh," he's like, "What you finna be doing?" I was like, "I'm gonna hit the streets of Oakland in this Tahoe. Like, what do you think I'm gonna do?" Like, obviously, and I was like very clearly just being Midwestern, because people in Oakland don't really be talking to you, and I talk to strangers all the time. You know this. You from the South Side. You know how it
Yeah.
goes. So Tara and I go get our nails done right on Grand, like right across the street from the Safeway.
Mm-hmm.
Why come out? Somebody have bust the back window of the car. How did this happen? Broad daylight on the street, and we were parked legitimately right outside. So we was like, "How did we not hear this?"
Not here.
Grand at the lake. Yeah, it's happening a lot in the business section.
I just couldn't even believe it. So I was like, "Well, this was a rookie mistake. I should have known better." So I'm like, I called a car rental place. Like, what do I do? They're like, you got to call the police.
No.
Tara was like, oh God, they gotta have Tracey on the phone with the police for her birthday. This is too much.
First of all, they're not gonna come. So
No, and we sat on hold with the non-emergency number for like an hour
right.
before I finally was like, I'm hanging up and calling 911. And how about I call 911 and they put me on hold? It was like, what is happening?
Being stabbed to death on hold. That's what's happening.
It was just like, this went from a non-emergency to now it's an emergency. And now I'm still on hold.
I'm burning to death on hold.
On hold. So they basically give me all this drama. They're like, you can't do anything till tomorrow. So me and Tyra was like, we just gonna drop the car back off at SFO and then we'll pick up another car in the morning. So I get back up there and they were like, no, ma'am, we got you. Like, you can
They
have
know. They know.
and they upgraded us to like an expedition. We was out here in these streets in the biggest like when you open the door, they like a little foot thing came down because it was so big. They was like, no, you can't get up here by yourself.
Yeah, I know. I know what that's like too.
So basically, I just look like security every time, everywhere Sandra and Tara wanted to go. I was like, let me just take you to the door. Who's gonna tell me to move? I look like you look famous. Come on.
At the Vacaville outlet malls.
Oh, yeah. At the Vacaville outlet, I was like, Sandra, you trying to go to Banana Republic? Don't even worry. I'll drop you off right in front and I'll park here. Like, who's gonna tell me to move? Claire's? You want some cheap earrings? We're getting them.
In my expedition limo.
So extra.
Might as well be like, oh, I'm going to a gala and I need some earrings.
Why not? I should have just picked everybody up because I could have picked up the whole city in the expedition. It was so big.
You backing up was such an ordeal. It was.
I felt like Austin Powers when he couldn't drive.
Yeah.
I made myself with the reference.
Nice. So how was the Oh, don't let me interrupt your flow. If you got more.
Oh, that's the flow. That was it. I just wanted to tell you about my weekend or tell you about the weekend. Because it was so funny when I go back to pick up the car, the guy was like, what's happening? I thought you was hitting the streets. I was like, the streets hit me back.
The street hit you back.
The
It's
streets
like,
hit me back, sir. Look, yeah, only been a couple
you in
hours.
Oakland. What are you trying to do?
Streets
You
like,
should have went straight to Sacramento with this. I'm hitting the streets.
I was like, dang. And it was like, because you know, our backyard, I couldn't have parked nowhere, I think, on the street. Our backyard is like small, but we had to like Tara came over and was like playing like backyard Tetris in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, I was like, please don't let me creatures and critters be in the backyard because like it's like fenced in. It was a lot. But it was
did you see any Oakland raccoons?
No, thankfully no.
Oh, because they are a sight in of themselves.
I mean,
I have seen one in the past, but not this weekend.
The Oakland raccoons give me straight Omar vibes when they be creeping because they come ready.
They do not run away from you.
And they stare at you like.
I always, because I go to UC Santa Barbara, and they think they have raccoons, but I went to undergrad at UC Santa Cruz, and they have raccoons. Like raccoons are everywhere. They're in trash cans. They're in the dining halls. They're teaching classes. They're everywhere. It's ridiculous. Like I was just irritated the whole 2 years I was there. Like, why are there raccoons everywhere?
No, you wouldn't be irritated if you were here. You'd be scared. When I walk the streets, when I used to live in that neighborhood over where you guys got robbed, I would walk and the raccoons would be, you know, in the streets, and I would cross the street to avoid them.
Yeah, they don't run.
My birth, because they don't play up here. They do not.
They don't scatter. You know, usually like people will see the raccoon and it'll like looks stunned and it'll run. They don't run here.
There's this video on TikTok of this guy walking up to a dumpster and there's some raccoons in there and he's like, hello, and the raccoons were like, arr! That's Oakland. I was like, that was filmed in Oakland. I was like, how are you gonna walk up and say hello to a raccoon? You don't know? You don't like they're gonna respond and be like, yes, how can I help you? No, that's not how Oakland works. So anyway.
Well, we did stop at the outlet mall on the way back, and I replaced the purse that was stolen from me. I made a rookie mistake because like I put it underneath the seat, but they must have just been like, "No, we finna try this."
No, we know that.
Dang, I would rather just like leave my door unlocked and you just politely like rob me.
Some people do that. Like I've seen that during the height of the car break-in season. They like leave the car door open and just nothing in it because they don't want the car. They want your stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Sorry.
I should have known. Rookie mistakes, you know, but it was fine. We did not let it kill our vibe. Tara was like, this could have ruined anybody else's weekend. I was like, not me. It's Libra season. My birthday is on Monday. Vanna gets romantic on Monday. We're out here.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear about crew.
Yeah, let's talk about the crew event. So first of all, wanna
Were you wearing your earrings? Did you tell her about your earrings?
I did. It was really interesting. And I talked to last time, I want to hear Tara's impression because, like, you know, you're like OG Carson fan and all of that. So we get there and like we of course are like VIP. I mean, it's peak Libra season, so obviously we're doing everything extra. We roll up, it was like doors open an hour before, we roll up 15 minutes before. They're like, we have your table ready. Like it was just like, and it wasn't like supposed to be ready for us like that, but it's just like the way when we walked in, it was just like the nice table in the back. Yeah, and it was like a 2-drink minimum. Whew,
Sounds like
they had this drink called the Metro Court Special, and I was like, well, she got to change that name because she don't own a Metro Court no more. But also, I might still be drunk for the Metro Court Special, to be honest with you. I had the first one, I said, oh, I can't have 2 of these. So I ended up ordering like another, like, you know, like a Prosecco, and I didn't even drink it. I was like, can I have a Prosecco and a water? This is a 2-drink minimum. I didn't even drink the other drink.
Wow.
I was like, no.
What was in it? I'm fascinated.
Oh, I took the thing too, and I don't know what I did with it. I have to find it.
And then it was champagne and gin were
Ooh.
the alcohol. And then
Champagne and gin.
yeah.
And those are, the white skinned liquors or white liquors because they go hard. You cannot. You have to be ready for those because they get you drunk really quick.
Really quick. I listen.
You were drinking fast. That's why I said I like literally because Sandra got a prosecco out the gate, and then me and Tracey got the Metro Port specials, and then I like look over and I still have like most of my drink, and it's nothing but ice in Tracey's cup. I was like, oh, she went hard.
Because like when you're driving, you gotta drink early so that because it's like one drink an hour, you get it out your system, drink your water. Because I don't, I'm very, very careful with. I don't even buzz drive. Like I don't do any of that. I have to drive. I have to be 100% sober. So if I would have had another, we would have just walked around because it was in a mall. So we would have just like walked around. But I had the one, and we were there for another like 2 hours afterwards. So it was fine.
Right.
But I don't know, Tara, how was your impression of the event in Sacramento?
Well, I mean, Sacramento is such an unimpressive town. Like, that's nothing to do with Laura or Cameron, but Sacramento itself, like, whoever decided that locale, like, the event itself, I think,
Sacramento.
I don't know. It's only happening if you're political. Other than that, it's like
it looks like the San Fernando Valley. If you're from LA, you know what I mean. Just real basic and flat. But we get there, the punchline is like in a shopping mall. It's like in a strip mall, which I'm already confused by. I'm like, this is not how we set up cities in the South. And then so we
in a strip mall. Sorry.
It's interesting, like it's all the fans are there, people are sitting, and then like we get the music popping and people start clapping, and I'm like, ooh, I am not drunk enough for this, like to be clapping, right? And then Laura and Cameron come out, and it's literally the Laura Wright hour hosted by Cameron Matheson.
Yes. Yes.
Which is not a shade to Cameron or any of the fans. It's just like he was very mindful that he is the newbie on the show, that like even though he's been in daytime for a really long time, like
right,
is really who people are here to see. And he just proceeds to like interview Laura Wright for like 45 minutes.
It was exactly that. It was like, Laura, tell them how you got started. It's a fascinating story, everyone. You'll love it.
He told him in between making out in the Quartermain boathouse. So the scenes where crew are making out, she told, like, in between cuts, like she was telling him the story about her life. Because they're like reenacting it. She's like, yeah, like we're at a gas station, and they'd be like, okay, go, and then they like go back to making out, and then they say cut, and then she would continue her story. Then we get to like the question and answer portion. The question and answer portion, which was interesting. People had interesting, I don't want to say questions because some of them were statements. They were just like, hey, like one person was like, yeah, because you like let Nell run, like you threw Nell off that cliff, and she was like, that bitch ran off a cliff.
That was very controversial. So somebody was like talking to Laura, and she was like, I mean, because you did hesitate. Or no, she was like, you threw Nell off the cliff, and the whole room was like,
oh hell no.
The whole room. I'm behind her. It's like me and another random lady. We looked at each other. I said, girl, you feel me too? Because no, she didn't.
Right.
And then the lady was like, everybody is like, the room is going up. Okay. People were like, that's not what happened. And so she tried to like backtrack. She was like, I mean, but you hesitated. And then the whole room kept going up. I was like, yep, she sure did hesitate because Nell could have pulled her down.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
Yeah, but let me context, because you're saying it. You're telling the story like as a Black woman. You're repeating her story, but it sounds like what you were like the only people of color. So the lady was white arguing with Laura Wright. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because you were like, I mean, like, but you did like that. Don't sound like a white woman. So that's you talking. But it was a white woman saying these things. Okay.
You are the only people of color in the room.
Okay. So,
Absolutely.
all right.
100%.
Like she sounded black. She's like, I mean, like, but you did, but you. I was like, you don't sound. That don't sound like a white woman.
Absolutely the only people of color in the room. A lot of people asked about Bradford because I didn't realize he was from Sacramento. So I guess like he had picked them up and like took them out to lunch and like all the things. So they had hung out with Bradford Anderson for the day. Spinelli. Yeah.
Laura also brought up how, like, on call sheets and stuff, how they like write out sets that they're gonna be on, and how like they would write Sonny's kitchen for her, you know, like, oh, in Sonny's kitchen, Carly's making out with Drew. And she was like, isn't it Carly's kitchen? Like, it's Carly's kitchen, right? And someone who writes the script were like, well, maybe Sonny will come back home. And Laura was like, well, he's currently fucking someone else. So can it be Carly's kitchen? No further notice.
Verbatim. I was like,
yes, Laura, stand up for Carly.
it was like an interesting thing because, like, you know, I'm a Carly fan. I don't know much about Laura, you know, like I've been a fan of the character of Carly, like pre-Laura, so it's interesting to hear a little bit about her. I took a couple of notes, like, but Cameron is such a Laura cheerleader, and I actually really like that. I mean, we'll talk about Brando and Sasha, but I like when male scene partners like cheer on the women that they're with. And like don't try to upstage them, like know that like the women shining actually helps them shine, and not overpower. So as like as hard as like Drew goes for Carly on the show, that's like as hard as Cameron goes for Laura. Like it's really sweet to see. They can enjoy working with each other.
I was thinking when you're telling the story that he was on these entertainment shows and he would interview people there. So I was like, oh, so he's taking on his entertainment reporter persona.
Yeah.
He's very proud of it. He talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he talked about himself, was that he was on these entertainment news shows.
Well, he also talked about his Hallmark movies, and Laura shaded the hell out of them.
Wow.
He was like talking about what was the name of the movie that he was talking about, but she was like, that's a
Murder She Baked.
Murder She what?
Murder She Baked.
Oh, baked. Okay.
It's like a bunch of movies he's done with Allison Sweetie. And like Allison Sweetie like owes the rights or something now. Laura was like, that's a stupid ass name. I wouldn't watch that. I was like, oh my God.
Damn. He was like, yeah, it's called Murder She Baked, a peach cobbler mystery.
That is a stupid name, but I wouldn't have said that.
I wouldn't have said it either. I was like, damn, you let that Virgo out, girl.
Yeah, Laura's peak Sacramento is what I'm calling it.
Also, like, just like about them, and then we can talk about a little bit about the show stuff. She like definitely like internalizes critique. Yeah. So she was like talking about how one of the things like somebody had come to her after like somebody had like a retrospective episode or whatever, and they were like, oh, we're so sorry that you don't have one, like we'll think about writing one for you. And she was like, it's Carly Day every day around here. You actually don't need to do anything special for me, and other actresses like deserve a chance. And so like I think it was also just like, you know, she sees that people talk about that and sees like people talk about her being on too much.
Oh yeah, because it's Carly Day every day. That's from Twitter.
Yeah.
And
probably like other like platforms too. Other people talk about like the amount of, because I mean it is a lot, it is a substantial amount compared to other people.
Yeah.
That was like really interesting to hear. And then Tara made a statement. You joked with her about you were like, oh yeah, we love Eden, like we talk with her on Twitter sometimes, and like I was gonna ask you, what did you say to her?
Oh, I was like, tell me who's Carly's favorite child and why is it Jocelyn?
Yeah, and this is like what we were saying when we were like leaving, and she was like, or Michael, right? Because like Carly always wants to run Michael's life. She's obsessed with him, ha ha ha. And you're like, oh, is it? You know, like but it was like really clearly like, you know, like she sees this like feedback and stuff like that and like internalizes it. It's also really clear that she loves the genre of soaps. So like what I found really interesting is that she was like not an actress before she applied. Like she's been in daytime for like 31 years.
Right.
Started off on Loving. And the only thing I remember about Loving was that Angie and Jesse like showed up on Loving after All My Children.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know anybody else. But so she started off there, but she was talking about how she basically didn't think she was gonna get the part. Like she was like a person who like modeled like dresses at the mall, but
She
she
just
also went
walked
to school
around the
working
mall.
class, huh?
She just walked around the mall in dresses.
Yeah.
Modeling is a very strong.
True. She was like, be clear, I was never in any print ads. I'm also short. Like I wasn't really
She's short?
She's 5'6".
5'6".
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for a model, that's short. Okay.
Yeah. And so she was like, her dad owned a gas station, and so she used to just like be the person who worked at the gas station. She would open it up every morning. And so she was talking about like having to take time off of work at the gas station to like take the train up to DC, or she lived like around like DC, Maryland, take the train to New York to like go and audition for Loving. And she like didn't think she was gonna get the part. She's like, oh yeah. And one of the reasons she thinks she got it is because she takes direction really well. So it was like she's a newbie, all the other people there. She's like, she's a fan. She was like walking through the hallway, like the way I would have been if I was on General Hospital. If I saw Finola Hughes, I'm like, can we take a selfie? Like that's how she was. To like the people, like yeah, because All My Children shot in the same like studio or whatever. So she had seen Susan Lucci and she took all these pictures. And then like they would be like, can you try this thing this way? And she'd be like, sure. And like just all the things they asked her to do. And so she got hired a couple days later. And she said her mom was like crying when they were packing her up. And she was like, Mom, why are you crying? And her mom was like, because I know you'll never come back home now.
Oh,
never came back home. I thought that was a really sweet story.
that's true.
That Cameron prompted her to tell.
Crazy, because one, there was like because it was just Cameron and Laura, and they had like the lights, and just like a shout out to Jen because she brought out how like during the convention Laura was like super about the lights, like I want to see people's faces, and she did it there. But I think it was a little hard to see, and so like Tracey was trying to get her question in, so she got the like bar staff to like help her get the question in. But then of course Tracey's the only person who asked like a question of substance.
Right.
She asked like how like what it meant to Laura to be like a mentor to the young female actresses on the show, and you could just tell she was just like, oh wow, and like thought about it. And she brought up her early days about how like a lot of people were not happy that the gas station girl got the part. And it made me think like, oh, she's been hearing shit since day one.
Oh wow.
Like this woman has probably never known peace.
Right.
And so for her to just have that sort of like bubbly, effervescent personality, like despite kind of all of this sort of, because like she never brought that up. Like the original, like Tracey's question really prompted that response that like, oh, I did not have it very easy when I started out, and a lot of like older actresses were not out here for me. And that's why I have to be out here for like Eden and Taviana and like Katie, excuse me. And so I thought that was really, really nice. And then plus, like you just like she looked shook, like she was not expecting a non like because there are some wild questions like, and I mean it's a fan event. People are happy, people are drunk,
right?
Metro
We're drunk,
and so people are just all like, "Where's your husband?"
Oh.
Like,
are they asking?
Like,
no, they're not asking for that, dude.
People were like, somebody was like, congratulations to you and Wes. She was like, for what?
Oh, and then the
married?
No.
Okay.
We were like, for what?
The highlight is when someone shouted for Cameron to take off his shirt. That's when Cameron Matheson just disassociated until he hit the ground in LA.
Down. Because so first of all, Tara is not doing justice to how extra I was with my question. Let's talk about how extra I was.
Oh,
so first of all, somebody from 10th Floor Podcast was there. So it was the mom. Okay. You know, like that podcast is like a mother-son. So the mom was there with her husband, shout out her man, and I was like, you know what? That's right, girl. You better shout out your man. She was like, she's like, my husband's here. He's my silver fox. I was like,
just like Cameron, I have a silver fox too.
And I love nothing more than that. Like, you know, women of a certain age, like being able to get it and be like, my man drove me up here. I was like, okay, you better do it. It was funny. Her son had like replied. It was like, "Oh, say hi to my mom," and she had just come and said hi to us. She was very nice. But so she announced herself, and you know, I'm also a little tipsy because it's right after the drink. I was like, "Oh, we announced a podcast." So this is it's already me. And so then it was like people were asking like not questions, or there wasn't a moderator, so like they can't cut off people in the same way that like if you're moderating somebody can cut them off. They have to be like nice, so people ask a question and then ask another question and ask another question, or redirect, or like if they're in the front, like be, you know, whatever. So I was like very clearly like, and the guy, when I had come in, he had seen my ID, and so he knew it was like around my birthday or whatever. So he was like, I'm gonna help you get a question, like one of the guys who worked there.
Okay.
So I was like, I gotta fit everything in, y'all, because I'm only gonna get one question. I'm only gonna get this one chance because we're kind of in the back. So when they come to me, so like first Cameron like tries to point to me, but somebody else like starts speaking, like at another side of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So when they finally come to me, I was like, oh, he probably helped me because it's my birthday. Pause for applause. Pause. Very Libra season of me. Pause.
Right.
You. I didn't expect for you all to clap. And it was like, my name is Tracey. I'm with the Sunday Shift podcast. I was like, one of my co-hosts is here, Sandra. The other one is back in Oakland. And here's Tara from Port Misery. Like, it was so extra. And we're like, okay. And it's like, and we bought it on Twitter because I don't know if you've noticed this, but there are a lot of men in soap press. So you can tell that Cameron and Laura were like, oh shit, where is this going? And I was like, and so, you know, we did this Zoom with Tabiana and Eden, and they said that like one of the best things about this set is that Laura, that you like welcome them in, blah 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 blah. And so I'm just wondering, like, what does it mean for you, and why is it important for you to be like a woman on set that like fosters a welcoming and encouraging environment for younger women? And then that's when I think they were just like nervous about what I was gonna say.
They were like,
it was like, it's my birthday, I have a podcast, fuck men. Like, it was
and
like a lot of like build up,
holding their breath, waiting.
And then I was like super quiet in the room because people looked at me like, oh, so we asking real questions?
Unfortunately, yes.
But it's like, I always think about like what it would mean if we got like a Cameron or a Laura or whoever to be on the show. And so like I have like list of questions in my head to like ask them. So like that was just like one of the ones. And I was like, and we are in the back, so we're not going to get a chance to interact with them in the way that people in the front are. So when they come to us, we can't ask like, tell us about your favorite scene. Like we have to ask something that's like substantial.
Right.
So it was cool. That was really cool.
Nice.
But it was extra. It was very like, oh, it's Libra season, we're doing this.
I need to be in a room with you when you are actually drunk, Tracey. That's a goal of mine. Just gonna put that out there. To do bucket list in the room with Tracey drunk.
Are there other like behind the scenes show stuff that you wanted to talk about, Tara? I have a couple things.
Probably the last thing is just like I was so happy I got to like tell Laura to her face how much I love her and like love Carly. She's retweeted Court Misery a couple of times, and I think just because of how snarky I am, she was not sure of my love. But I did get to like, no, you are my favorite character. I just want you to know that. Don't let the snarkiness fool you. Like, I read everyone equally on this show, but like if I had to, like, it's like the Wizard of Oz where she tells the Scarecrow, like, I'm gonna miss you most of all. Like, yes, you're the Scarecrow for me, girl. So that was my because she genuinely looked touched. You know how some people are like, "Thank you," and you can just tell they're waiting for their 5:50 flight.
Great.
Genuinely like, "Oh my god, thank you so much," and I was like, and it made that part like just the end part. I mean, the whole thing was great, but like that end part just like made it for me. So I love.
Yeah, let's take a picture with them at the end because we
Mhm.
did
Yeah,
like.
I was gonna ask you about that. So, like, at the end, was there like a line to take pictures, or
Oh
did
no,
it
we got
go
that
around
first.
the room?
We got there, so we were the second group. So like they basically somebody came in and like one of the staff was like, "We're gonna call people by tables to like come, like you could stay seated or whatever." And so then like they called he was like the guy who like helped me out before was like, "You want to come?" I was like, "Yes, we definitely do." But it was like so clear because like they're Virgos. Cameron's a Virgo and Laura's a Virgo. I know them I know that very well. So they were like nervous about their flight. So
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, well, let's just like so that we have a little bit more time to talk to them. Let's just take our picture together because we
Uh-huh.
all had the tickets where we could have taken individual pictures, but
Oh.
we were like, let's just take it together. I bought like or I think Sandra like had like cash and so bought me this picture of Laura, and I was like, is it rude if I don't get one of Cameron? I mean, I kind of don't. I mean,
Now, did you say that heck aloud though in drunk Tracy?
yeah, but not in front of him. Not in front of him.
Okay.
Not in front of him. But he was like, it was so clear. He just knew like people was not there for him. Poor guy. But we did get a chance to say, I told them that I had been rooting for their characters to be together since the What If crossovers when it was like Ryan Lavery and Carly Corintha or Carly Jacks. And so they
Right.
like that. And then I like had like a little small moment with Laura and told her about like something personal that like Carly went through that I went through at the same time. And she was just like, and we both made it. Like she was very sweet about it. She was very, very sweet about it. Yeah. So that was the other things I have on the list. Somebody asked about Brando, and it was like really sweet. Like people in the room were like, "Oh, we miss Brando." Like it was like very like overwhelming, and so they had very sweet things to say about Johnny Wachter,
Mhm.
and they talked about how he's like a working actor, and that he like created a character that people cared about, which is why like he was like taken because if he wasn't cared about, then like like that reaction is like kind of what you want when you kill somebody off on a soap, as opposed to people being like, you know. So they both said that he was great and they enjoyed him. Um, they talked about and then Carly. I had to remember how much when I first started watching the show, I did enjoy like the Carly, Jason, and Sonny dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not a person who's ever liked Carson, but I did like them as like um it's like a trio. It's people who like because it was built in drama, and so she talked about this, and she was like, "Yeah, even when they weren't together, like the people who they were with had to understand they were each other's person, and they would show up for them." And so I think she definitely misses that dynamic, and you can see a little bit of Carly and Sonny getting a little bit of that back now. Of people who care about each other, but she definitely misses that Jason, Carly, and Sonny dynamic, which I liked. Maybe that's all I have from the event. Oh, she talked about being able to cry on cue. She was flexing about how she could cry. And she brought up Brian Craig and like supporting him and like really enjoying working with him. Um, yeah, those are
Yeah,
my only notes.
you can tell she has a real good rapport with everyone on set. Like even
Mhm.
when she was talking about like the Carly versus Sonny's kitchen, like she was like, "Yeah, I brought it up to Mo and he laughed, about," and then like talked about how like her and Cynthia are like playing pickleball like today essentially. Even though like her Nina and Carly have no
Mm.
fucking love for each other. It's very clear that she has a lot of love and respect on that set. So like it was fun. It was good to get behind the scenes stuff. I loved her and her glasses just
Yeah.
constantly on top of her head.
Yes. I also really liked to bring when she went up Cynthia. So I appreciated that most people in the room clapped. They were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, Cynthia." Like people like don't have it for Nina, but like people were like super respectful of Cynthia, and I think that Laura like saying like, oh yeah, that's my girl. We're gonna play pickleball tomorrow. She like mentioned that Maura West was like one of her best friends. When Maura was
Yeah.
like getting hooked, she was like, hold up. I need the rest of this script because I know my girl's not going anywhere.
Okay.
But anyway, what she was talking about, she even did a little bit of explaining Nina's point of view. Cause she was like, yeah, Carly ain't fucking with Nina, you know, whatever. But she was like, but Nina thinks this, which is what prompted the Nell thing. She's like, you know, Nina thinks that Carly killed her daughter, so like it makes sense that her and Carly will have beef and da 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 da. And it's interesting to see because Mo is really, when you listen to his interviews, is so caught up in like my family abandoned me. Like he like a lot of this shit with Sonny, like he actually believes. And so it's interesting because Laura actually believes the other side of it. She's just like, I can't get over what, like, she's like, even as a viewer, like, it's hard to get over her keeping him away from like his family, like his kids. Like, that's really difficult to get over. So, like, it's interesting that the way they play it, like, they both very much believe that. And we've talked about that. So to hear that, like, kind of confirmed was interesting.
Sounds fun.
So if people don't care about Crew, I'll timestamp this so that people can skip over it.
Right. Like Crew.
Yeah. So, you know, are y'all ready to get into the week? I tried to keep, because I knew I was going to be talking so much. I tried to keep the summary for the week short.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have a Am I the Asshole? Are y'all ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a defense attorney with a lot of, let's say, complicated clients. I'm paid well and I go above and beyond for them. Wink, wink. Recently, the son of one of my long-term clients retained me for a family court proceeding. My long-term client is currently estranged from his family, but his name was not on any witness lists or petitions, so there was no conflict of interest. Imagine my shock when my long-term client asked opposing counsel to put him on the witness stand to side against his own son. I had to ask questions that any attorney would have had to. I actually could have gone even harder. Because this was a family case, the questions were personal and called into question his decision making. Am I the asshole for doing my job and representing his son?
No.
No. And I got more on this. So, yeah.
Great, because I do too. So I think a lot of our stuff will overlap today.
Right.
Very, very short recap because we're started late and I know that we have to end a little bit earlier. This week we made progress on Liz's story, though not the progress that anyone asked for. She was hypnotized by Kevin and saw the face of the person at the bottom of the stairs. Turns out it's Finn's dead wife, Reiko. My confused face for people on audio is because I'm also confused. Apparently, Liz's family was on the Mariana Islands at the same time that Finn and his wife were there for Doctors Without Borders. Sure.
How old is Finn? Continue.
Retcon life. After looking like he was gonna make it, Brando dies. It doesn't sit right with Portia, so she asks Finn to consult, and we find out the hook used to kill Brando was poisoned. Speaking of Finn, he leaks to Alexis and Gregory that the weapon used against Ava and Brando is a hook, leading to lots of false confessions to the PCP hotline and HIPAA violations for all. Sonny is trying to keep the people close to him safe with mixed results. Josh spots her super suspicious bodyguard, and Christina refuses hers, which leads Alexis to go full Alexis on Christina and question her life choices. Curtis questions Jordan, still having feelings for him, and Jordan wonders if the potential paternity of Trina is her business to tell. Victor takes Lucy out on the Haunted Star, and when Vanna comes to rescue her, Lucy refuses to leave because she got a diamond bracelet and she likes her role as Honey Trap. Curtis gets in deeper with Selena Wu and secures Chase a gig for the Savoy. Carly is still in Jacksonville fighting Virginia, this time over Virginia's high society club trying to move grave sites, including Carly's mom, in order to have better beach access. Rich people are crazy.
Carly's mom is Virginia.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Ooh. Carly's mama. I called the other lady bitch Honeycutt because she's just
I'll go with that.
I promise I was not drinking a Metro Court special when I wrote this. Finally, Diane is taking over for Martin Gray as Sasha's attorney. And after some salty words with Sonny, which I know we will discuss, she tells Sasha that the guardianship is in question because Brando is dead, and that can mean that Sasha might go to prison. Diane goes to check Brando's office for the paperwork, and the Hook sets their sights on her. And that's our week. Woo! Feelings of the week. Tara, you tell us. Favorite moment.
Favorite moment. I definitely like Lucy just choosing diamonds over her own safety. Like, it was very on brand for her. She was like, ooh, I'm scared. And then he was like, here's a bracelet. She's like, ooh, okay. Like, oh, are you a terrorist? It's fine. You know, people make mistakes. Like,
listen, those bracelets. Even Anna was admiring the bracelet, so maybe it was
like, oh,
the peak moment, just because it validates all of my beliefs and what I say on Twitter, has to be Alexis calling Christina a bum to her face. Because I've been saying that for years. So, like, she was just like, you're a bum. And you're gonna die for your bum ass ways. I don't understand. And then, like, and now Alexis is the bad guy. But, okay. But yeah, those are mine.
Woo, this lighting situation. Okay. For me, Vanna, all of it. But especially her stopping Valentine from sneezing. Anna's like, I'm a superwoman over here, okay? What are you doing? Human stuff? Like sneezing? You about to blow our cover being human? I gotta be superhuman over here? I loved it.
The way she did it though, she's like, I was like, that's not something I would have done for someone than just a casual acquaintance. So that tells you how close they are, because she could have gotten some like cooties from that and grab, and she was okay with it.
The spine and the fame.
Right.
And I just like also love the moments with Lucy when Valentine, like, they're so good at their jobs. They just leave nothing to the imagination. Like Valentine, like JPS knows where his camera is. Finola knows where things are. So like, just like their spy mans is so funny. Like, it's so like quirky with these like serious, amazing actors. So you have like JPS like picking up the like wine and like looking at it like, huh, this is good. And then, like, you have like Anna looking at the bracelet like, this is, I mean, listen, this, if I'm going, I might go for this bracelet. Like, it was so good. They're just, I mean, it just reminds us why they're so good together and why we've waited so long for them. Like, they are worth the wait. And some things are happening next week, which I'm really excited about. So Tanya, favorite moment and performer of the week.
Okay, well, I have to agree with both of you, but in different ways. So with Alexis and Christina, I enjoyed Christina yelling at her mom. That's the energy, that's the Christina that I love. Her being snarky and like, how dare you? And I can do whatever I want and blah, blah, blah. That's the Christina I wanted to be talking to Nina. But instead, she always comes for her mom like that, but she doesn't come for anybody else really like that. So That's the one. And I was like, yes, that's the Christina I want. So I enjoyed that. I never like Alexis or Nancy Lee Grahn. So yes, she's the enemy and always will be. So, whatever. I was like, as far as I'm concerned, that's the real Alexis. No savior lawyer. And no, I didn't like that. But on the other hand, with Vanna, all the things and what I enjoyed was one, Valentine constantly telling Anna, Victor's just here for romance. There's nothing to worry about. Lucy can take care of herself. It's all about that. But it didn't matter because he was still down to do whatever Anna wanted him to do. And the thing that made me laugh out loud was when he straight kicked that guard into I was like, that was hilarious. Because, like, first of all, what you do is standing so close to the guardrail, pointing with your gun. Like, who's in the ocean just waiting to be shot at? So that was just stupid. And then he just straight kicked him and lost his shit. I was like, oh, this was so hilarious. I enjoyed that so much. Unfortunately, the show was okay because those are the only things that I remembered that I wanted to. Now, I know there's big things that happened this week, right? So of course, we have to give it to, Bonnie Burrows and Sophia Matson, the loss of Brando. That was real. But one thing that it's not notable to me because again, it's just like tragedy, trauma, porn for Sophia Matson and Gladys. I mean, constantly Sophia Matson brings it because she's constantly going through something. And at some point, it's not going to be special. And writers, you guys have to do something different for her. And I foresee just more trauma because she's going to have to grieve. And it's like, this is something that unfortunately I just don't want to watch. But I'm going to watch because I just want to support Sophia and her getting that Emmy that she so deserves. But I have to admit, like when the scene where she's told that he's, finally passed away, I really just did not want to cry. I did not want to react because I'm so over this, trauma stuff. But I did because her performance was just that much, right? I cried and it hurt my eyes because I was trying to hold it in as much as possible. But when she fell to the floor, I was like, okay. Yeah. that was it. It was so heartbreaking. That along with, the loss of the baby, those were just definitely two things that, she should be recognized. I mean, they need to recognize her for last year and this year. It's just crazy. So yeah, Sophia Matson and Bonnie Burrows, obviously performers of the week.
I mean, they just do really good work.
Right.
Everything that you said, and I feel like we say this every time, like they just, everything about their arc has been so tragic, and that we barely see them, but they're able to elicit these emotional responses out of us. I think is just like such good and special work that they do together. I hope that Sophia does get her Emmy. I hope that Bonnie submits and gets something for, I think maybe she probably is like guest star or something. I don't know. He's supporting, I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's been on long enough to not.
Yeah. I do hope that they both submit because I think Gladys has been a character that's taken us on a journey. And her very clear support of Sasha, so good. And her heartbreak over losing her son. That's the thing that made Brando's death, I could take, we didn't know Brando really as a character. We only knew this, and I only really cared about their reactions. I didn't care about Sonny. But I'll talk about that later.
Right. I did not care.
They could have seen just the tragedy porn of Rasha by the montage they decided to show for Rasha.
Oh my God, that montage!
That from the inception is like Sasha had Odin, and it was just downhill since. And it's just really crazy when you think of Dead Baby Christmas to now. It's been less than a year. They deaded her child and her husband within a year. Like, it's real. It's usually one or the other. It's not
Yeah.
Right.
Seriously.
unless it's your Star Manning and they like yeet your husband and baby off a cliff so they can put you with Michael. That never happened. Like,
I well, thankfully they were found. Found to Cole.
they yeeted Cole Thornhart off a cliff.
Um, I just
Good job, Ron.
Oof. Ugh, just rough. My God. All right. Well, let's talk about something happier. All right, what's working?
Vanna and only Vanna.
Eek.
To be honest, like everything else, like I would give it to like individual performers because I think they do the most with like what they're given. Like, because I do really enjoy like seeing Carly and Jacksonville and stuff, but it is quite separate. I'm like, okay, when's Drew gonna show up? But like Vanna, like their story works, they work, it fits with the larger narrative. Like it just always works. I wish that like I cared what Gregory and Alexis are doing. I wish I cared what I don't actually wish I cared what Finn and Elizabeth are doing. I wish I had more than indifference for what they're doing at this point. Don't care what Shaylin's doing. I have no idea what the young adults are doing. And so it's literally Vanna. It's just Vanna. 35 minutes to Vanna. So.
Yikes. That's really tough. Because it's what I had as well.
Oh my God. Let me just get it out the way because that's the only thing I had to do.
I mean, whatever you guys gonna say, freaking Curtis? Like, I loved watching Portia ask questions she should have asked a year ago.
Like Jordan killed me. He was like, if I wouldn't have asked for the divorce, would we still be married? She was like,
yeah.
Like,
like, did you not watch the show at all last year? You're the one who asked for the divorce.
Curtis, you wanted the divorce.
Right.
You wanted the
You should be asking yourself that question, not me.
It was so stupid. But I did also, I mean, I was like, am I like standing Carly right now just because we saw her? But I did think that I do like Carly in Jacksonville. And I wanted to like say that because I think that there's a lot of well, there might be. I'm gonna just tell you the truth. I have so much muted on the timeline. It's so peaceful. I don't know what people are saying, but every once in a while, like something gets through a little bit. So I think people don't care for Carly in Jacksonville or are questioning that. And part of it is because they're putting it up, rightfully so, against like what's happening with Elizabeth. So like Carly's getting this backstory while like Liz is getting like torched by Finn. Or like this revisiting of a backstory actually. But I think that it works for me to like reground this Carly in the story, to retell it. Laura said at the event that like she actually had to go to like one of the people who's been there for a long time to ask them about this because this wasn't the story that she had ever done. This was like Sarah Brown and Carly number 3 story. Mm-hmm. So she had to like go get like, same as me. I was like, Virginia. No, that's the mama. My bad. Like she had to like get like the rundown of it. Mm-hmm. And so I even think that I think there's a difference between Carly monologuing at a gravesite versus her monologuing at a vending machine. Like I hear that, I hear the criticism of her like talking inanimate objects, and I just think that there is something like very real about talking to like a grave and like doing that kind of monologuing versus like other like Morgan's grave. When we first logged on, I said, "Oh my God!" For people who just listen, Tara has Morgan's tombstone as her background.
Yeah, I'm at her Charles Cemetery. I'm at Woodlawn.
R.I.P. And so anyway, I I like, and I wish that we actually did that for more characters, not less. I would love a revisiting of Sam's past. Like, especially characters who have been there for a long time. I think there is something that's really special about revisiting past. Ooh,
I
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually say something a little controversial here. I think they're doing Carly's revisit better than Liz.
Oh, that shouldn't be controversial.
Well, I think the Liz fans are gonna hate me, but and the Carly haters are gonna hate me. But I am more fascinated and more in tune to Carly's revisit than I have ever been. And Liz is like, I'm going a little crazy, I'm losing time. Because the direction that they've turned it into is super hella crazy. And I guess I'm going into what's not working for me.
Go ahead, because that's the same thing I had. Go ahead.
Yeah, because first of all, it's so random that all of a sudden the girl that may have been murdered or not, it doesn't seem like she was murdered because she died some other way, is now connected to Elizabeth. Elizabeth all of a sudden, went to the same remote location, I forgot what it was, that Finn was at the same time, and her dad may or may not have murdered his future wife. I mean, it's just so convoluted, so random, and so crazy that I'm just like, I can't even believe that we went through the whole, however long it was that she was losing her time and doing all this, was because of, it still makes it about Finn. Still. And he's all up in the mix, being very, manly and just trying to control everything. And the writers I feel like the writers did this because they feel like they have to justify his presence in her life. Because we don't, we don't buy it. We're not buying it. So we're like, okay, the fans don't like Finn and Liz. Let's justify the reason why they're together, or justify why he has a stake in this. Because otherwise, he's just who he is, just a really nosy and bossy man. So they had to justify it, and I'm not buying it. Whereas Carly, it hasn't even been that long. She's only been in Jacksonville for a week and a half. It hasn't been a year-long drama surrounding it. She just happened to be in Jacksonville. And I'm more fascinated by that than Liz's whole year-long journey. And that's really sad. And it's not only sad for the writers, but it's sad for the actress, because I do think she deserves better. But yeah, they not only give Carly more airtime, they write better stories for her.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it for Elizabeth Weber. Like, she's just never gonna be my fave and never has been. But I respect veterans, and I respect Becky, and I want to see Becky with a good story. Like, I don't have to like a character to like believe that the actress behind her deserves like nothing but respect, especially for the time that she's put into the show. And so they constantly do this to Liz and to Becky, which is like insert men into her story. So like Lucky's, like when she was raped, when she first came on, or like back in the day, not first came on, but like back in the day, that became like a catalyst for JJ to talk, or for Lucky to talk about Luke and Laura's relationship. And like closer now, when Jake was killed but not killed, that became a catalyst for her, or for Luke to win another award, and for him to like have a story, right? Like for Tony Geary to have a story. When they brought Jake back, that was really about Jake Doe / Jason having a story. That wasn't about Liz.
Right.
When they killed Franco, or when they brought her rapist back, that was about Franco. When they killed off Franco, that ended up being about Cameron. Like, she wasn't even able to grieve. And so now when she has a story which she's able to grieve, it ends up being about Finn. And that's a real choice, and it's a real disrespectful one. And so I think that you really pinpointed why, for me, Carly's thing is working, because it's not been something that's been building for all of this time. right? Like this is Becky's like anniversary year. This is what, 25 for her. So this is her anniversary year. People expected Becky to have a real story that was about her, that was centered on her family, her point of view, how she felt, not to like insert some man into it, not for him to be the central part of it, and not for it to be a mystery that drags out for like over a year because we don't know what's going on. Like nobody expected that, and I think that's why that story has been like, it's not even comparable to Carly's at this point, because Carly's is probably, you know, she's gonna be in and out of Jacksonville. That whereas to like Liz, and it's gonna be about her. I mean, I think Drew's coming down next week, but this story is about Carly. Becky and Liz's story is not about Liz, and it's just I think it's unfair to her fans and unfair to her as an actress who's put this much time into the genre and into this particular show.
Yeah.
You're like, no notes. Yeah.
I know. I think it's Tara's connection.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure my connection is not too wild, so I pre-apologize. What's not working for me is Sonny being on every damn day for the past 3 weeks. It's just not doing anything. And it's like going back to the Brasha thing, Sonny's reaction is not who we were waiting for. It was Sasha and Gladys. So this idea this is inherently false. Like, I would have liked to see the phone call between Carly and Jocelyn. I didn't need this phone call with Sonny. Jocelyn could have told Carly that Brando was dead. I don't need Sonny stopping Diane from doing her damn job because he's mad about some shit that went down 2 months ago. Like, so who's been running your legal shit since you've been throwing this goddamn temper tantrum for the past 2 months? Who's been doing that, Sonny? Scott? Scott Baldwin? Is that the lie Kristen and Dan are gonna try and feed me? Like, it's not working, it's not fitting. And like all of these things that they feel like they need Sonny to like make sense, he's making them make less sense. So maybe stop that. But yeah, that's what's not working.
Yeah, that was, I agree. That the second thing that didn't work for me was the scene between Diane and Sonny. And I tweeted about it. I was like, you getting all up in Diane's face is again making Brando's death about you, right? Like, you can't be Sasha's lawyer because you cross-examined me, even though I put myself on the stand and let myself be open for cross-examination. It's just like she said, I was just doing my job. You put yourself on the stand. And he's like, but you asked me all these hard questions. I'm like, dude, it's your own fault that you were there and now you're mad at her? And again, this, you know, she's trying to help Sasha and you're just cross-examining her? Like, are you gonna give her another lawyer? What are you gonna do? I was so pissed. I was so pissed that I, tweeted about it. I was just like,
What you see on my face is disgust.
Right.
And that's the last conversation that Diane will have. How sad.
Is she for sure dead? I hope she's not for sure dead. I just hope she just got stabbed.
I think she gone, Tanya. I think she gone.
Has been putting Gaboon Viper venom on the hook. He went super hard for absolutely no reason. That's another thing that's not working. This hooker being extra as fuck for no reason. Like, where are you getting snake venom from? Just put some Drano on the. Like, why would you putting? Where are
because again, they have to make this about Finn too, so Finn can have an end with this.
Put some bleach on the hook. Stop being extra.
So I had said this actually because our friends at PC Rewind, Ray, Britt, and Susie, they do speculation space every Twitter Spaces every Thursday. And so it was like this conversation. It was like, I enjoy people talking to people who don't like what I like. But it was like somebody who doesn't like Carly. And so they were talking about how often Carly was on. And then they were talking about basically that it was okay that Sonny was on like every day. And I was like, here's the difference. Like I do think that in order to like have a more balanced show, they do need to like revisit how much people are on. I'm not like saying that that's not true. But I think that part of the difference is that they have to like center worlds on Sonny to like justify what he's doing as a character in a way that they don't have to do Carly. So Carly, for example, is getting like segments of story to like reset her, because I appreciated her talking about how like her whole life has just been like her whole life in Port Charles has just been Jason and Sonny essentially. Whereas to like Sonny is like they're building the world around him and it sucks up story from other people in a way that doesn't make sense. So we saw Milo, for example, say, oh, we're going to rush to the hospital to go see Sasha. They never made it. We haven't seen Chase with Sasha since when she OD'd. Like, we haven't seen Chase with Sasha. They don't talk. We don't see them in the same room. So like when he showed up, instead of like pretending like maybe they spend time together off screen, this could have been a chance to reestablish that friend group and say, you know what, this really big thing we went through happened. Like we lost people that we love and we regrouped since then. And I've been bitter at Michael and Willow, even though like I'm a good guy and I said I forgave them, but I never really did. And like have Chase have some point of view about that because he deserved that. And then say, this is going to like push me towards being friends with my friends again. But instead we get all of the reaction and all of this from are we like I would much rather see Carly speak to a grave than Sonny speak to some like faux Mike about his dad liking racehorses. Like you're like literally things that should be about other people have to become about Nina and Sonny to like humanize them and to like draw them into the canvas in a way that no other couple needs to be. It's actually really a shame that Nina is the person who's there for Sasha and not Maxie. Maxie's actually lost a husband not too long ago, young, unexpected, same way. You know what I'm saying? So like, and her and Sasha know each other; they're business partners. We should have had Maxie at the hospital holding her and like talking with her. And maybe we'll see what happens in the future. I don't have any hope for the show that happens, but that was about making Nina a better character. Her being like, oh, let's call Carly. Like that is, I get it, whatever. I'm never gonna like Nina. That's fine. And like it's fine. I'm not mad at people who like her. She's always gonna be Nina could be drinking a water in a way that I don't like. And I can be like, look at that bitch over there drinking water. I'm never gonna like her. It's fine. I admit that. I don't care. Like, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it bothers me that they try to like they take away story that should be in another group to try to like humanize her instead of actually writing a story that is good for her. Like this whole thing is to be like, look at how Sona is like, oh, they've been there for Sasha. They had to like get Carly out of town because it would have made as much sense for Carly to be there for Sasha as it did for Nina. So they had to be like, okay, girl, you're gonna be out of town so we can like let Nina do her thing. It's not giving for me. For me personally, it's not giving. Other people, maybe it is. But for me, it's not giving. And it really bothers me that they do all of that for Sonny. They build worlds around him. They build morality around him. They build like whole characters around him. Like he over here telling Jordan what to do. Get out of here. People don't get to have to share information with you. Like like they brought Christina back to what? Like just agree with him. That's why they're setting up her having beef with her mom again. Talking about dead end jobs. Well, it wasn't dead end when she was the manager before her dad bought it for Phyllis. She could have went to business school to learn how to run her own business. She had to be a lawyer, but her daddy took the shit.
I do remember when she announced it to the the Davis clan. Alexis was like, yeah, that's great. So Sam, what's going on with you? I was like, your daughter got a management position. Could you say more about that? But yeah, whatever.
I mean, it's just it's,
people.
What's that, Tara?
Oh, the Cassadines don't respect working class people.
They really don't.
yeah. So I don't know. That bothered me. All right. Do we have free for all hot takes? We can do one next and next. You want to start, Tanya?
Sure. Let me see. That again, well, I put a note that montage and then I was crying. All the tears. But I didn't get the whole light flickering, random talking to folks with Sonny, that whole thing. I'm just like, why are the lights flickering in and out? Is that supposed to connotate something? That's supposed to note to the world that Brando is dead and passing on to the afterlife? I didn't get it. It was just like, it was so extra that just really did not need to be there at all. So, yeah.
Yep. I was like, what the hell is this?
Like it was like a start and they didn't even finish it. They could have showed him going to the lights or like, I don't know, somebody meeting him at the pearly gates or I don't know. Why was the lights flickering? It just bothered me.
Max Dale was busy. He couldn't come back. So they said, well, guess we'll get this man that kind of looks like him and some flashing lights and we're gonna, that'll be it.
I'm offended. They should have just let it go and let him die. That's it. That's all they needed to do. They didn't have to.
I got Trina is killing me with her Joss reads. She's like, girl, your mama don't own this place. What you trying to do? I'm not trying to get kicked out. Okay, I'm Black. All right, you be acting a fool, Joss, and I'm trying to stay here. Like that was like the whole vibe that Tommy got to watch. Girl, your mama don't own this.
I said that was funny. That was funny. That was funny.
I think we have a little connection problem with Tara. But Tara, do you have anything?
Yes. Curtis Ashford is the worst. That's my only free for all hot take. Like, why does he think he is hot enough or good enough or interesting enough for beautiful hot Jordan to be doing all these things? Like, why didn't you go to the county register and find out why your divorce wasn't finalized while she was busy at Camp Kidney? Like, why is he acting like she was just in town the whole time? And then you have like, they have to write Portia a dumb way because Curtis is so dumb. Like, and now we have these two Black women like side-eyeing each other over this garbage fire of a man. I just want Jordan and Portia to I want Curtis to get hooked with the Gaboon Viper laced hook. And then Portia and Jordan move to Connecticut and open a B&B. And Portia is the town doctor / coroner, and Jordan saw.
We lost Tara. We're gonna keep going. This is why this show is free.
Right.
Tanya, it's never just been me and you. Look at us.
Hey.
Hey.
But I agree. Like I want him to be hooked by the hooker.
Everything Tara said.
I am tired of his mess. I really am.
Yeah.
Yay, she's back. But Tara was saying that I totally agree with you. He needs to be hooked by the hooker. And he needs to recognize that he ain't all that in a bag of chips. I'm aging myself.
Aging yourself with that reference. You're not all that in a bag of chips, Curtis. Or me, Tara.
Oh, sorry. I just like my whole computer just died for some reason. But yeah, I blame Curtis.
Okay.
I blame Curtis. Terrible story. But yeah, you're right. Curtis is just not good enough for these beautiful Black women to be this angsty over him, especially when they're all in their like mid 40s at this point. Like, if y'all don't get a Tinder account and go spread your beautiful wild oats, they'd have everyone swiping right.
Listen, absolutely beautiful ass Jordan on an app. Stop it. Stop it. She's so beautiful.
Yeah, we went through this phase where we were like, I did, where I wanted Chase to just be going around sleeping with a bunch of people.
I did too.
I want that for Jordan. Because she does not need to be hung up on the wrong man. I agree.
That was the thing. I was like, you're hung up on Curtis? Okay.
Yeah. My next one was I guess an editing thing. Because I'm like, how does Carly end up from the cemetery immediately to the bar lounge? It really looked like she walked from one set to the other.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what? Next door to each other?
Right. They could have just
right by the
cemetery. They should have edited it had like a commercial break in between, but it literally looked like she walked from one set to the other. And I was just like, that was really horrible. And I'm still, again, I was mad that bitch Honeycutt was still chilling at the bar. I'm like, does she have nowhere? Is there nothing else in Jacksonville for her to just be stalking Carly at that one hotel every single time? I was like, no, stop.
Now, my hot take is I actually hate that woman, but I love her reading Carly. When she was like, girl, are you broke?
She's like, let me buy you a drink. It's on my tab. I was like,
it was Carly offering it. She was like, girl, we got Google down here and you're not doing well. You okay? I'm probably gonna get declined. Like, it was just like
that was, yeah.
Like, because I love characters like Carly, but they got to get read every once in a while.
Right.
And can't nobody read you like a rich white lady. Okay.
Right.
She, like, rich white ladies need to read other rich white ladies more. And that's why that lady needed to come for Carly. And I cried laughing. I was like, why they gotta keep telling my girl she own this hotel? It was like when somebody like said something was nice to Nina, like the Metro Court was nice. Nina was like, thank you. I'm like, girl, you did not have anything to do with that.
Right.
You know, she was like trying to get Ava to come stay at her townhouse or some shit. And she was like, I'm very proud of the Metro Court. I was like, why? Why are you proud of it? What did you do besides steal it?
And bring in a chef or something.
Who Olivia pretty much almost get. Where is the chef? Why are we pretending like that chef is a thing? That's not happening. That's not a thing. We're never gonna see that woman again. Like this, it just goes back into like all this stuff you have to do to make it make sense for Nina to own this hotel. Like, you can't just have her grab it to be a bitch. You have to have her like, I wanted to give it to Carly and now I'm gonna keep it and now I'm gonna like work really hard and get this chef. No, I don't want it. I don't want this smooth transition to a new owner. That's stupid. That's not soapy. Like, that's the thing. The issue with like my free for all is like Carly and Nina's beef is not soapy. Like, it's just forced and contrived because they cannot decide which of those two is the villain. They leave it to the fans. They're like, if you like this character, then, you know, she's the hero. If you don't like that character, she's the villain. But they don't actually write them as making moves that are villainous. Like, even the one like slight critique I would give is that, like, you know, Laura's very adamant that like Carly's doing this because Willow says she didn't want to know if someone like Nina was her mother. I'm like, no, the better reason for Carly to be doing this is because Nina stole her hotel and stole her fucking husband. That's the correct reason. That's the correct energy. And if you're Carly's fucking fan, that's what you want her to be doing. Like, who cares? Let Nina fans stand their girl and defend her actions and how we should be telling her the truth. That's their job. I don't need Laura Wright justifying Carly's actions. I'll either find a reason, and it won't be that. It'll be she did what she did. Nina shouldn't have started shit. If she wanted to be a mom, then, maybe she shouldn't have started a fucking years-long beef with both of her children. Maybe should have thought about that.
I mean, since we're slandering Nina, let me go ahead and get up in here. That Sona hospital kiss was weird. It was weird. And when he was like, you knew her being like, I know what I'm getting into. Girl, knowing what you're getting into with a mobster versus somebody who has a serial killer targeting people around them is very different. And I am tired of everybody in Sonny's orbit acting like they cannot accept help via security. If my cousin's brother's friend has somebody targeting them and serial killers and they said, I'm gonna get you security, I'm like, great. So if my man has somebody targeting them, I'm certainly taking the security.
Yep.
But it's weird. They're weird. It is what it is. I agree, Tara. They just don't know how to make people the villain. I again think that they just can't do that for Nina because it would make Sonny look bad. And I don't mean villain as like horns come out of your head. I mean villain as somebody who just did something bad for the moment and then can like be redeemed afterwards. But it continues to be lazy storytelling told by good actors, and that's
Yeah, it was like super annoying for Nina to be all up in Carly's romantic business. Like she keeps reminding Sonny, yeah, seems like Ryan and Carly are not
Ryan.
Ryan.
Not Ryan.
Drew. He will always be Ryan Lavery to me. Sorry. Drew. It seems like Drew and Carly are a thing. And he's like, what? Why are you doing it? And I'm just like, yeah, because she's that insecure in your relationship, Sonny. That's why. It shows every single day, and it's really sad. But yeah.
I mean, like him like explaining himself, it's like very high school. And that's what I felt like part of the problem was with both like Curtis and with Sona, which was like, it was very high school. It was like, Curtis was like, do you like me? Do you like her? If you would like, okay.
Like me, check yes on the note.
Ask your fiance if he would be married to somebody else. If he had feelings for somebody else before you said yes. Y'all ain't never talked about that? And you about to get married? Basically a year later? So maybe you should have let this breathe for more than a year, to be honest. Because last time we saw Curtis with Jordan, before Jordan came back, he was saying baby by her bedside. And that wouldn't have been my man saying baby by nobody else's bedside.
I love you and all that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it goes into like, who's the villain in that story? Is it Jordan for not minding her damn business? Is it Portia for lying? Is it Curtis for being irritating as shit? Like, who knows? I'm gonna go with Curtis, but like the writers clearly don't know.
Definitely.
Also, I'm like signing back on my computer. Sorry for technical difficulties.
It's all good. This is a free show.
Go ahead, Tracy. Did you have another one? I do too.
Go ahead.
Why is Victor taking her on a cruise for lunch and sailing away with her and figuring out her schedule? Like, first of all, who told him what her schedule was? Deception staff need better training. And I'm like, don't be like, see, that's a pet peeve of me, is like, because I'm a staffer and I handle the schedule of someone, I do not give away my boss's schedule. Even when I'm saying she can't make it, I'm not saying why. I'm just saying she can't. Sorry, she can't be there. So for whoever at Deception is like, oh, she has nothing on her schedule, she's totally free. And why are you giving that information out to some random person? And it wasn't Victor calling. So it was somebody, one of his minions. and you're giving out your boss's schedule. That's crazy. And kidnapping is not romantic. No.
How Maxie though, because like Lucy was like doing everything but like waving her arms.
Right.
He was like, "Girl, you don't got nothing to do. What do you mean? Like, go have fun."
Maxie was being extra stupid too with the whole Halloween and Star. What does that mean?
Like,
hello, haunted star, lady, haunted star.
I was like, what is Frisco and Felicia's daughter raised by Mac doing? No better than this. Like, what the hell is going on? It was so ridiculous.
Like, how many times have you been on the haunted star? At not one point she was like, "Ooh, Halloween and stars reminds me of haunted star." She should have clicked right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't
kidnapped on the haunted star. Like she was physically kidnapped on the haunted star. Alex,
right?
She should know.
Sounds like Lucy's being kidnapped, like I was. Not one thought at all.
Well, speaking of Curtis being whack, I just want to go back to this. I love that Selena Wu was like, "You should have told me you was getting engaged because I seen that whack ass ring you got, Portia, and I could have helped you out." She was like, "Oh, that's the ring." Oof.
I could have
told you about somebody else. I could have got you a jeweler, something.
Now I know he's wise to her game, but still, that was hella funny.
I cracked up. I watched it twice, and both times I was like cackling. Like she was like, "That ring is ugly. I could have helped you." Selena Wu, a queen.
Queen. I got one. Liz's flashback. My first thought was, why did the person at the top of the stairs look black to me? I was like, are they trying to blame this fall on a black man? What's going on?
It was Hat Daddy, and everything connects.
I was like, I don't know who the stand-in was, but he did not look white. If he was trying to be Liz's dad, that was not it. I was like,
It was Hat Daddy. I have in my note, calm down, Hamilton McBain. Like him talking to Chase about like the property and like I was like, shut up. I hate it. I hate it. I hate that I hate Finn. I don't want to hate Finn, but I do. So here we are. What can you do?
And you don't even need an explanation for that hatred. It's just understandable. Like, shut up. Stop it. Just stop talking. I have one about Sonny. He says I even forgot who he was talking to. He says, I still scan the crowds looking for Morgan. And I was like, what do you mean? You saw him last week, except he was playing Michael, but that was Morgan.
Man, everything's available to me.
Right.
I want to talk about Sonny. And then I'll let y'all do, because I know we have to wrap up soon. Sonny and Diane, I just want to go back to those scenes. I was like, how the mighty have fallen. Sonny looked like a little bitch. And I think that they were like trying to there was a lot of feedback, and I mean they by the writers. There was a lot of feedback after Nixon falls and like who Sonny was and what was happening. And I think they continued to take all of the wrong feedback. So like people were like, we want the old Sonny back. And it wasn't so much just like we want this mobster back. It was like, well, the old Sonny, considering what y'all have written recently, was actually like the family man. And then you further estrange him from his family. And you have not shown me, I think a Sona story that would have been better. I mean, I was never gonna like it, but a better story would have been him like grappling with staying away from Nina because his family hated her, but not being able to because he loved her. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have but right now, nothing in the way that they came together makes me understand why he gave up his family for her. And I'll say this, and it's not that I don't think that they have chemistry. I think that Cynthia and Mo have chemistry, but I think that there's like that, not those extra pieces that make me feel that. I was telling Tara that I remember, like, if you watch Days, like the couple who played Alani, so like the first Black couple ever married on Days history in like 2020 or something. Like, so Sal Stowers, the person who played Lonnie, was like, when her and Eli got together, like, she wanted to make sure that they had like moments with each other, that it was like they were really together. So like, you know, she would grab his ear or like whatever to like really show like that there's some intimacy there. And I think that there's an intimacy that is missing between Sona that makes their story hard to like tell. And it really actually came through in the intimacy between Carly and Sonny, and like almost the relaxing he had into it when they were on the phone together. That phone call was like, okay, whew, I'm talking to my person. I'm talking to someone who understands me. I'm talking to somebody who I can say anything to. Because for better or worse, no matter how you feel about Carson, like, that's who they were to each other. Like, and that is actually part of why Carly was so betrayed by him. Because it was like, I actually thought we was past all this lying shit, which is why I told you about Jason, which is why we, you know, whatever. Because we've actually been through everything. And so there's like an intimacy that's like really missing for me, for them. Even with Carly, like, Sonny was just like, don't come home. And she didn't fight him. It was like, Nina was like, well, can I buy my own security? Can I da-da-da-da? He was like, don't come home. She's like, ugh, Jacksonville. But it wasn't like, I got to come be for my kids. I got to come do this. Like, it was just like, okay, Sonny, I mean, I'm sure it'll eventually turn into something else because she's Carly. But in the moment, while he's grieving and he's like, don't come back here, she's like, all right, you got the family? Okay, the family's good. All right, I trust you enough to stay here. And I think that happens over time. I think that happens over the course of a relationship, but it's really difficult to believe. And I have not seen anything in the Sona relationship that would make me think that Sonny would have left the comfort of the Carson relationship. Does that make sense? So anyway,
yeah,
that was something I had.
Yeah, I mean, the relationship between Sonny and Carly is always going to be there, and he's explained that to her over and over. And so that's part of the reason why they have that comfort level. But yeah, I mean, but then when I'm hearing about older men and their, you know, midlife crisis stage, they be doing that shit. They leave the woman that has been with them for thick and thin for the next thing. Is usually a young, hotter woman, but Nina acts like a child half the time anyway, so it almost squares. But basically, Sonny's going through that midlife crisis, and he's neglecting the family that he built over time and supposedly cares about for this thing. And it's almost like a fling. I don't expect it to last very long. I'm sure they're trying to hype it up. I really don't expect it to last very long. So, and I'm treating it like that. She's still the other woman. She always will be the other woman. Unfortunately for, you know, Cynthia Washros. That's it.
That's how them cookies be crumbling, sis.
Yeah, I think I had one final thing.
Then I have one, and then we'll go into previews.
The picture with Liz and Sarah is another Sarah. So I'm like, does this mean that Sarah's making an appearance? Because it's not the original Sarah. And it's basically Liz the same age. So I'm like, and they did not try to make her look younger at all. So that makes me think that this new Sarah is going to come on the scene at some point. Because they didn't have to show this picture. They really didn't. So
I read on a spoiler account that was actually Becky's real sister.
Oh, that's sweet, but still, it's not Sarah. Also, why? Why did they show that picture?
I was gonna say something about the Cassadines. I really loved Valentine protecting Alexis. So like that very small moment where they were like going into Charlie's and Christina was talking to Victor and Valentine came and grabbed her and was like, nope, you let Sonny and Victor handle that. And I love when Cassadines call Alexis Natasha because they're like, Natasha?
Asha.
Do you have anything to close us out, Tara, before we go to previews?
No, I think we covered it. I think we did it. I can't think of anything snarky. I've had 4 beers, so
4 beers and a precocious internet connection. I get it. Oh wait, I was also gonna say I think Dex is a red herring. I just do not think that he's the killer. But it would be very Dan if he was the killer. Like, what if they were like next week? They were like, it's over. It's the hook.
I mean, they made it very obvious. Yeah, he had something jingling around his neck, and then next scene, Dex with his dog tags. I was like, eye roll.
Yeah. Well, preview for the week ahead. Obviously, like I said, I'm not as good as Sandra with this. So I'm just gonna do day by day. So this is assuming no preemptions. But Monday, September 26th, tomorrow, Anna and Valentine get romantic.
Are they gonna do it?
They are. And JPS did a feature in Soap Opera Digest, which I really loved. And he was basically like, Anna, it's always been Anna for him. And yeah, so it was great. And he even talked about the Valentina relationship a little bit and was like, I mean, he loved her, but she ain't Anna. Alexis and Gregory make a gruesome discovery. Cody confronts Felicia. Nicholas makes a big sacrifice. Finn works to save a life. Tuesday, Carly gets a surprise visit. Cameron calls out Trina. Dante has a hunch. Sonny offers comfort. Portia is uneasy.
Wait a minute. Sonny offers comfort, but he just blessed her out the week before.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Wednesday, Sonny wants answers. So another sunny day. Spinelli opens up to Sam. Curtis makes a surprising request. Trina gets a shock. Dex is in the hot seat. The 29th, Thursday. Sam has questions for Spinelli. Jocelyn and Dante brainstorm. Austin meets with Mason. I forgot all about Austin and Mason, to be honest with you. Maxie urges Cody to keep an open mind. Portia confronts Jordan. Friday, Victor visits Spencer at Pentonville. Nicholas and Finn argue. Anna and Valentine recruit a new ally. Liz confides in Gregory. Brooklyn helps Chase prepare for a performance. Is that to Chase's performance?
Right.
Let my dude get his Jason Mraz on. I'm tired of these like overproduced poppy songs. Let my dude be like a little singing youth pastor. I need him, just strumming a guitar, getting his like non-racist John Mayer on. You know what I'm saying?
The vision that Brooklyn had of him in her dream, I was like, what is he wearing and why? Oh my goodness, why? No.
I love the my assumption is so the surprise visit is I believe is going to be Drew going down, because Drew, if you notice, did not tell Sonny and Nina that Carly never made it to the seminar.
Right.
He was just like, I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call old girl, aka my wife, and see where Carly at. And he never told them that. So I'm assuming that the gruesome discovery is Diane. Finn is like working to save a life, which is Diane's, which is the poison. And I think it's probably too early for him to have had any antidote. So it's unlikely that Diane survives.
I'm sorry, because I mean, she was the best lawyer in Port Charles. I did want to make note that I actually looked at Nicholas Chavez's Instagram. I was on Instagram for a good half hour. I was very shocking. And I looked and I noticed that he's on a European tour. So I'm so happy for him.
I think he's back. Yeah.
Or he may be back now, but he went. So I'm assuming that time away was when he was gone.
So part of it was the studio was dark.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, I'm glad that he enjoyed himself in Greece and Italy. So, yay!
Yeah, I saw him post something last night. Look, now I feel like a creep on this like kid's Instagram. I saw him post last night. He was like back in LA because he was like a Dodgers game.
Cool. See how old that is. I just be looking at old stuff.
Well, do we have anything we want to close out with before we go?
Y'all be thinking about Oakland, and if you are spiritual or you just think and you meditate or anything, keep Oakland in your thoughts, because it's going through right now and it needs thoughts. It needs action too, but if you're a thinking or a praying or a something person, do that.
Yes.
Thanks for dealing with my crazy internet connection. Sorry, everyone. But also, this week was very ungood. Let me just say that. This week of General Hospital was ungood. You had good moments that we can attribute to specific people who are not named Sonny Corinthos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But line was set up like through Hey Leo, and like where we are right now like is very ungood. Like Tanya said, I don't, as much as I love Sasha, she's currently my Avi on Twitter. I don't need to see her constantly in turmoil. Like, can we let my girl get a Tinder account? Like, I'm about to say let her do drugs again. Because at this point, if you gonna have her baby, her husband, what they gonna yeet Gladys somewhere, like just destroy her entire life. Lucy wants to take deception. Let her be a crackhead. What else does she have?
I also hope they don't turn Sonny into her guardian, because that felt like it was always. I think I echoed back. Yeah, I was saying I hope that they don't turn Sonny into her guardian, because that looked like where the story was going.
Or her love interest. Please do. I don't want Sosha. Sorry. I can't. I get Gladys in scenes with Sasha. Get Sonny out of there.
You should not have put that in my head. Please. Just like no, we have to deal with Nina. We like Sasha. Keep her away.
I was like, Nina deserves Sonny. Okay. Yeah. I don't. I've been through enough.
Right.
All right. On that note, on that very sad note, hoping for some surprise Sprina next week. I know that Cam is gonna talk to Sprina or talk to Trina. Hopefully, maybe she gets a jail call or something. I don't know.
One final thing. Yes. Happy birthday to you.
We can do that without getting cut off. That's a free song. Thank you.
Yes. Stevie Wonder one. You're good.
Oh yeah.
That's off. You know.
That's internal.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for staying up with us because we're going to post this late. Thanks for dealing with our internet issues, all the things. Thank you. Good night.